Well, it's Tuesday evening, 9:15, April 13, 2021. Out here in California and on the West Coast, we had, of course, Desi Linden up in Oregon set the world record, world best in the 50K on a 6.5 mile out and back. So it was actually a half marathon out and back kind of loop. And that's what's happened today. And of course, Kara Goucher says, real casual. Desi Linden on board. I think I'll run a 50K and not only shatter a world record, but be the first woman under 30 hours. Congratulations, rock star. I'd like to see Kara. I know she's done some trail racing. It would be great to see her out there. In fact, I think she's running for Ultra now. And so most of my feed today is, basically on the Desi Linden's record. And of course, me and the Treeline Journal and a number of other people commented on the fact that it's great that Eugene Marathon was helping put on this race, and they helped put on the Galen Rupp and Jordan Hussey. But it's like, could they find a place that was more remote without internet connection? They kind of hype up both of these things, and you're dealing with companies like Nike and Brooks, and it just seems very, very strange. Or even like today, they promoted it, and then it's kind of like Brooks running, Josh Cox, and then some Boston Marathon Twitter page. They're putting out stuff, but then they weren't even using a hashtag. We always just came up with their own hashtag, Des50K. And in fact, people were asking those different organizations to hey, make a hashtag. In fact, it was weird. Brooks Running had some bizarre video that they just stole off the internet, where it was some guy in a champion shirt playing with like 3 or 4 phones trying to keep track of what was going on. And you're like, hey, you're Brooks Running. This is your thing. Why don't you make it easier for us to keep track? I mean, I kind of compare it to the ill-fated Kilian Jordan with Solomon Running, but at least, that was, video cameras, 24-hour coverage. I mean, it only went 10 hours. They had commentators. They had, timing devices. And they were out in the middle of nowhere in Norway, and it was, good. Or the Marathon Project when they had it there in Arizona. And then, of course, like this thing saying, Jabil Curry and Aravipa are constantly doing stuff. And I mean, even our own coverage, me and the Gesture, we're just using Clubhouse, and we're able to keep people informed. So very, very strange that the whole way you kind of look at these things sometimes. Like I've commented on the fact that some of the Nike running groups, you go on their websites, and like one gal, Eliza Cranny, who has a Bakersfield connection, her grandfather lives here in Bakersfield. I remember, she's throwing down all these great PRs, and you go on their website, the Bowerman Track Club website, and they haven't even updated the website. And you're thinking, I mean, I update my stuff all the time. And so if it's my job, whoever's doing the website, as soon as Cranny sets a 5K PR or how she busted that 10K, change it. I probably could go on there right now, and it probably still hasn't been changed. So very weird how these companies do stuff. But let's get off the Desi thing. I like this one. Dennis Young said, sign up for a race 2 days after my second shot and finally found that I was always been seeking the perfect excuse for performance that was always going to be shitty. And as if you listen to my videos, I definitely, the vaccine, I got the Pfizer, and it basically really screwed up my sleep and a lot of other stuff. I think I'm just now kind of recovering from the whole debacle, but I mean, I'm glad I got the shot, but I definitely have had some difficult couple weeks, especially just the whole sleeping thing. Let's scroll through here. This one was a good article. Podium runner. Did you know that high school phenom Hobbs Kessler, who ran an American indoor mile record in February, was also an elite rock climber? Here's what he and other elite athletes learned from other sports they have excelled at. And so there's kind of an article there. But it's kind of crazy. I remember they were interviewing Hobbs, I believe, on Let's Run. And he's going to go to Northern Arizona. The rich get richer. They just won the cross-country championship. And it was kind of interesting. Hobbs talking about rock climbing, which I guess he got from his father. And he was talking about how when he went to Flagstaff, he checked out some crags and stuff. But he's like talking about that when he runs for Northern Arizona, he's going to continue rock climbing. And I'm thinking, there's no way a coach is going to want you out rock climbing. Granted, you're not a professional. You're not getting paid. But, I mean, if I was a cross-country coach, I wouldn't want my guys doing stuff like that. So, be interesting. But, it's good cross-training, though, power-weight ratio and stuff like that. But I think once he gets into college, he's going to have to focus a little bit more on just the running. Speaking of youth running, U.S. Track and Field announces updates to the 2021 and 2022 youth competition schedules. So you can check that. All these things I retweet on my Instagram, Twitter /AnnieNoise. And it'd be great to see youth competition here in California. Down south, they're having invitationals, and they're talking about having some championship meets. Here where I live in the central section, we've had a couple cross-country meets. Haven't heard too much about track. And, of course, Buchanan High School up the road from us has the state meet every year, cross-country, and, of course, track at their amazing facility. So they've been talking about the state meet is usually right at the end of May, beginning of June, and so there's talk about is it going to happen or not going to happen. And, in fact, talking about Buchanan, C.J. Albertson went to Buchanan, ran there, had a great track and cross-country career, later ran at Arizona. He's now runs for Brooks, and he actually broke the world record for the 50K on the Buchanan track a couple months ago. So Brooks Running now owns the men's and women's record. And again, another thing that's bizarre that Brooks didn't say, hey, now we own the men's and women's world records. Just very strange how these companies just don't seem to promote themselves very well. But I guess that's the way they roll. I like Brad Stuebelberg, and he says, stop worrying about the heroic Instagram where they work out. Reading streak or hike or whatever else it is, and start worrying about being consistent in the things that make you feel good. None of these sites give a shit about your happiness. They do better when you are wanting, and that's definitely the case. I definitely go back and forth about getting on or off it. I'm pretty much completely off of Facebook. You may see stuff on Facebook, but I just have it automatically posted on there. I remember I listen to Joe Rogan a lot, and he says basically the same thing. He just has his Twitter and Instagram thrown up there. In fact, I think actually Instagram, you have to go through some steps, but you can Twitter, you can throw it up on there, but you have to do a couple steps, whereas Instagram, you don't. And it's basically what I do. I kind of, on Instagram, I like the photo part of it. And then, of course, with the Clubhouse thing, you definitely have to have some kind of link. And so for people to direct message you and for you to send them information, you hook up your Instagram. I talked about this on the Des video I just recently did, but Treeline Journal says, oh man, it just hit me. Billy Yang was there and he's making a film, Des 50K. Yeah, Billy Yang's a Southern California guy, or at least that's how I know him. Used to be at a lot of races years ago. I started doing trail races in Southern California and always running into Billy Yang. And he's done great documentaries of Western states and a lot of the other Icanic races. Sally McRae is often a subject of his videos, and so really look forward to seeing the complete project. They did put out a short video, which I think if I roll up here a little bit, they kind of see it as well. Yeah, here it is, the his video thing there. So more Des Linden, great little Let's Run article about that. And that's kind of not much going on. Of course, it is a Tuesday, so don't expect too much endurance noise on a Tuesday. Now just kind of going on to my own stuff, my training. I got up this morning and just felt absolutely I getting sleep finally, but I'm just super slow. The workout was 6 times 1,000 meters, trying to walk fast, and it just wasn't happening at all. But still did the workout, and you can see really, really bad. I mean, my goal sometime is to go sub-3 walk in a half marathon. Before I had my heart failure, I got 301, 302. But since heart failure, my best is 340. Wasn't really trying, but that's 17-minute pace. So the goal at the Judgment Day is to try and walk about a 330, which I think is about 16-minute pace. Of course, got to make the cutoffs and stuff. So before I did that, though, I did my spin KGB, where I get on my spin bike, warm up a little bit, do a little bit of kettlebell drills, head out and do the workout. The workout wasn't successful whatsoever. And then this evening I went out, and usually on my hard days, I try and do half the workout I did in the morning. I only do a hard day about every 3 or 4 days. And it was 3 times 1,000. A little bit better. The first one was super, super slow because I spent most of the day doing paperwork and helping my son do his taxes. Ugh, nightmare how hard that is. And then when I got back, I did another kettlebell workout, just a quick one with this great app that I use. So that's my Strava. Then if we go on to the Fitbit stuff, elevated heart rate still. You can kind of see my workouts today. The sleep is getting better. I'll take 4.5 hours. Yesterday was 6.5 hours. And I kind of napped today. Sleep score is still crap, but that is what it is. And then drinking, trying to get to 96 ounces. Been doing pretty good, mostly getting the water in me. That's, I obviously drink other stuff. And then one thing that's been really nice, and I don't know why it's happening, for a while my weight was, I kind of wasn't paying attention to my weight for a while. And now I'm trying to get back down to 110, which is kind of 250 is my cruising weight. if I can get down to like 110, that's like 240 something. And as you can see, the weight just finally started coming off a little bit. But who knows? It'll probably come raging back. Just is what it is. So that's pretty much endurance, noise, and random musings. And talk to you guys later.